Major human rights controversies sharply divide public opinion. World on Trial brings together the world's best jurists, lawyers, and experts to present two sides of these controversies.
This is a very complex debate.
You will learn about the international treaties that emerged in the aftermath of World War II, in which nations around the world agreed for the first time in history to protect the fundamental human rights of their citizens. Along with jurors at universities around the world, you will determine whether nations today are living up to these promises. Welcome to World on Trial. On the morning of September 2nd, 2004, Muslim schoolgirls in France awoke to an unfamiliar world, a world in which wearing headscarves to school as a symbol of their religious identity was now illegal. A new law in France prohibited wearing any sort of conspicuous religious symbol while attending public elementary or secondary school. The law has become known as the headscarf law because of the impact it has had on Muslim schoolgirls. The punishment Muslim schoolgirls faced for disobeying was, and still is, expulsion from school. These girls who feel that they can no longer practice their faith believe France is infringing upon their right to religious freedom. And for this, they are putting France on trial.
Islam is the second largest religion in France, and France's Muslim population is the largest in Western Europe. In 1830, France invaded Algeria and ruled the predominantly Muslim country until 1962, when after an 8-year war, Algeria won its independence from France. During labor shortages in the 1960s, immigrants from across North Africa continued to enter France in large numbers. It was the French assumption that North Africans would return home after working for some years in France, but instead many remained. Today, nearly 10% of people living in France are Muslim, and estimates are that 20 to 30% of the French population under 25 is Muslim. France has a long history of commitment to secularism embodied in the word laïcité, freedom from religion. This uniquely French notion developed in the late 1800s as a response to the long domination of French life and government by the Catholic Church. In 1905, the French concept of laïcité was enshrined in the French law on the separation of churches and the state. Today in France, laïcité is a concept fundamental to the Republic, and to many implies a strict separation of private religious practice from public life. In 2003, the French government created the Stasi Commission with the stated purpose of making recommendations on preserving laïcité in an increasingly multicultural society. The Commission issued 26 recommendations, but only one was taken up by the National Assembly and considered for legislation. The prohibition in public schools of displaying ostentatious symbols of religious affiliations.
J'estime que le port de tenue...
In all good conscience, I believe that the wearing of outfits or signs that in an ostentatious manner show a religious affiliation have to be banned in public schools.
Secularism is undoubtedly the separation of the church and the state, and it is the miracle of secularism that allows us to live in national unity and with the respect of diversity.
Proposed law passed overwhelmingly and is commonly known as the headscarf ban because of its direct effect on Muslim girls.
In schools where some Muslim girls do wear the headscarf and others do not, there is strong pressure on the latter to conform. This daily pressure takes different forms, from insults to violence. In the view of the mostly male aggressors, these girls are bad Muslims, whores. Either we left the situation as it was, and thus supported a situation that denied freedom of choice to those, the very large majority, who do not want to wear the headscarf, or we endorsed a law that removed freedom of choice from those who do want to wear it. Complete freedom of choice for all was unfortunately not an offer.